So I'm super excited to have our next guest on for episode 13 at the real side of real estate, where we keep it real. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. We don't hold back. We have a special guest on from Microsoft, guys. Microsoft. Everybody knows that company. His name is Vish Walia. Vish, how are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So you are the marketing director of technology, something along those lines. What exactly does that mean, Vish?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me here. I'm Vish, and I'm a director of marketing solutions at Microsoft, and the role that we have is to create go-to-marketing strategy for our business applications. Now, I work for the corporate office in Redmond, though I live in Canada and I invest in Canada. We'll talk about that. But my role is to build strategies, programs for these business applications for the entire world. So I actually manage like 25 different countries where we enable the field, the marketing field, to sell the software that we have. So that's my role at Microsoft.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So this is like web-based or app-based? What are we talking about?
Yeah, these are business applications that are primarily used by big corporations, big banks, institutions. Though these are on cloud, but as you may know that these are now powered by AI. So, these technologies are powered by AI, where we are making these very efficient for human to leverage that and make their life more easier.
Oh, awesome, man. I never thought you worked at Microsoft. When we met, I was like, this guy, he's a very savvy real estate investor. And then you told me you worked at Microsoft, and I was like, what? I was caught off guard. I was like, wow, you work at Microsoft. And I thought, you might have worked at Microsoft and you're an investor now, but how did that come about? Like, how did you get started at Microsoft? Let's talk about that first. And how did the real estate side come about?
Sure. So, Manny, I'm an engineer by profession.
Okay.
I did computer engineering back home in India. And then I moved here in 2006, and since then, I've been lucky enough to be working at technology companies in different roles in sales, business development, and even technology roles. And then in 2017, I happened to go to Microsoft for an interview, and lucky enough that all the work that I've done in last years and so, it helped me to secure a role at Microsoft. Now, there's a very interesting story of me pivoting to real estate, is that I joined Microsoft in January 2017 as a salesperson for their business applications solution. And now there is a ritual at Microsoft that every year they do reorg, and that means that some of the roles are eliminated. And unfortunately, the role I had was eliminated in 6 months. So I joined Microsoft in January, and then in July, my role was eliminated.
Wow, was that past the probationary time?
It was, but it was such a rude shock, right? Because, it was my dream to be working for a company like Microsoft.
So it's a big company.
And then you are just stepping in and learning, the tricks and trade of the role and all that. But then, your role get eliminated, and, so it came as a rude shock. But more than that, it was more like a pivotal moment in my life. First that came to my mind was, okay, no job is permanent. No matter how good of an employee you are, always the clock is ticking.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
That's one realization that came. The second one was that you have to become indispensable. That you should become so good of an expert in a role, whatever you do, that you become untouchable. So, though I was given another 60 days to find another role at Microsoft, and think of it as a Hunger Games, where I was allowed to go to each and every hiring manager and provide my resume and see if I can get a job. And I actually looked at a job that had maximum number of applicants. So I didn't just fall for any role that came my way. I said, okay, you know what? I want to be a customer success manager. That is a role I want to be. And then I really worked hard towards that. And then you wouldn't believe that there were like 60 plus applicants and there was only one role.
Wow.
Ended up that role.
Oh, that's great.
And that gave me a lot of confidence. But in addition to that, I said, you know what? no job is permanent, so you also have to have a second hustle. Then I started to evaluate what are the opportunities that can have me or provide me the second income.
Yeah.
And guess what? Real estate came as the best option for me, where I can buy a property, put it on rent, and then I can just do my job.
And you can cash flow. As long as it covers the expenses, you can cash flow. So did you take a program? Did you learn through any of these programs? I know there's abundance of programs out there. I met lots of my close colleagues are in programs that they've learned a lot of things. Like there's programs out there, Keyspire, Wealth Genius, all these programs. Did you take any of these programs?
Not when I started.
Not when you started.
But let me tell you this, because I'm an engineer by profession, I focus on the processes and the systems that's again built in me. So I did a full research for, I would say, like 10 plus months, different cities, different strategies. I went to a lot of boot camps, but did not pursue any program per se.
Okay.
But I actually jumped into the action right away. Now, in hindsight, I could have taken a course, but I did not. I actually jumped into action right away, and I don't think that was a bad choice, because I still stayed within very traditional way of investing, that is buying a single and making a duplex out of that. So very risk-free kind of investment I did.
So in 2017 you got involved in real estate.
Yes.
So right away, right, like after you got back to the work, you got right into the real estate.
Exactly. So the day I got the job, I said, okay, there are two jobs I have now. One is the full-time job, and the second is that 5 to 9 where I have to learn and invest, and I got started for both right away.
That's awesome. So did you have a mentor in the business that you got involved in with real estate, or did you do a lot of research on your own through YouTube, through other platforms, through Google and all that stuff, or did you have a realtor to help you? How did that evolve?
Yeah, good question. So again, I was a self-learner. So to your point, made use of a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of books. There's a lot of books by Don Campbell, the godfather of real estate, or
the Rain guys,
the
right?
Rain guy, right? So got very clear with the concept, right? The concepts are not difficult. The difficult part is like how you evaluate a property, how you do a
implement it is a little bit difficult.
To implement that, right? So I did the initial years by myself, but it was after 3-4 years when I started to realize that how many properties I can end up buying, right? Like how can I scale? So that's where the need for education and the mentor came.
No, I understand. After a certain amount of properties, even the bank gives you a hard time, right?
Exactly.
So you gotta diversify and find out ways to put things in corporations and stuff like that. I completely understand. And you know what? Most investors get involved where they dive in first, and then afterwards like reevaluate what they need and what their wants and what their desires are. And sometimes they shift strategies from single family to duplexes. Sometimes they go from duplexes to small buildings, and they bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's great. That's awesome. So you've been involved since 2017 in the real estate game. You're still full-time work at Microsoft?
I do.
Wow. How do you have time for all this?
Yeah.
And you have a family, lovely wife, and you have 2 children.
I have 2 children.
2 children.
11 and 10.
11. Wow. You're a busy guy.
I'm a busy guy. That's good though, right?
That's very good.
That keeps you fit.
That's very good. That that keeps you young.
Yeah.
And your lovely wife also is busy. She works also.
Yeah, she's a realtor. So
she's a realtor. Great.
So to your point, so 2017 we started. 2020, we started to feel that, at least in my experience, I did not come across many realtors who were investor friendly or investor focused, right?
Yeah.
And that's a challenge in this community, that we always want to work with a realtor who understands the investor psyche, the ROI, the cash flow, the renovation part. We're not just looking to buy a building. So she ended up becoming a realtor herself, so we can focus on buying properties, doing renovation and flip around and all that. But it was, I would say, in 2020 when I started to realize that I have to shift, I have to pivot from singles, doubles to more multifamilies. And multifamily is totally a different product. It's a product that you need to have a lot of understanding, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of people behind you. And that's where I started to kind of pursue the educational courses and take mentorship programs on and all that.
No, well, it makes sense, and it's a different product in terms of mortgage financing, different product in terms of qualifications. The whole thing is different, right? After
Exactly.
4 units, you get into the commercial aspect of things, and in some perspectives it's easier, some perspectives it's harder. It becomes more about the numbers than the individual. So yeah, I completely agree with you, and I agree with you in terms of the real estate agents. Myself, I got involved because I had a bad realtor. So 13 years ago, I had a bad realtor that was just, they didn't want to meet with me. They just wanted to send me properties after properties. And I'm like, I want these specific properties, but I get 50 properties every night to look at. And it was frustrating. I completely understand. And there's not a lot of investor-friendly realtors out there. The ones that are, they do very well, and they're extremely busy. But yeah, I completely agree with you. And now I know you guys make these short videos. Your kids are involved. I love the videos you guys are making.
Thank you.
They're like detectives, and they're looking for real estate deals. That's amazing. You guys got the whole family involved.
Absolutely. See, I don't see real estate as just a profession, right? Like when I started, for me, it was a second hustle. And as you know that we have young families, right? And if you are going out there every weekend, because I work Monday to Friday, and the only day for me or days for me to look at property is a weekend.
Weekends,
and my wife and my kids started to complain that, Dad, you're never home. So I found a good way of addressing that problem is, okay, I said, why don't you join my team? Like, you can become real estate detectives. And we can go and find properties, and, we can all make money by that. And I think real estate is not just, giving us that cash flow and second income, but it's also, building our family together as an endeavor to achieve financial freedom.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for. And we are doing, all these things for our family and for people around ourselves and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I always tell everybody we're doing it for the freedom. We're not doing it for the money. Like, you could take all my money, just give me my freedom.
That's it.
Give me my freedom from the bills. Give me the freedom from the complaining. Give me the freedom from tenants. And just give me the freedom. You know what I mean? There is no down payment on peace.
Yes. It's invaluable.
And I know what you mean. I have a young family. I have a 4-year-old. I have a 7-month-old. And when I leave, the 4-year-old is like, hey, okay, bye, Dad. And when I come, he's sleeping. So it's like you're doing it for the freedom, but they don't know that. They don't know at that age. They don't know. Your kids are a little bit older. It's good that you got them involved. It's good that you got them, making them feel like it's a game, and they're learning. They're learning a lot at a young age.
Very young age.
Where, when they become teenagers, they'll be like, "Oh, I remember that. I was playing that with my dad.
Exactly.
I remember playing Monopoly,
Yeah.
and it makes sense. I play Monopoly with my kid, not because I like Monopoly. I like Monopoly, but to teach him about how to invest and what's the smart thing to do. Because I think the biggest problem the schools have is financial literacy.
Yes.
They do not teach financial literacy.
And we were not told. So that's why, I'm just making sure that whatever, things we did not get.
Yeah.
Not just from, the school aspect, but even, learning about something that is business oriented.
Even our parents,
right?
my parents were first generation immigrants.
Okay.
And they came from a war-torn country. And they were only taught certain things from there. And, don't trust the bank. Don't trust the government. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, don't trust the economy. Don't buy a house. Like, all of the things that were back then and there, they brought it here with the mentality. And for me to be the second generation, I have to change that mentality to change it for my kids.
Exactly.
Otherwise, if I say no,
nothing changes.
Exactly. Right. So you're doing a great job at that. I'm sure your parents did not do that, where they got you involved with the family business at a young age. Did they do that with you?
No, both my parents were, government officials
Oh, okay.
back home.
Okay.
And it's a funny story. My mother once asked me that, how many houses do you need? You need only one to live. So I had to tell her that, okay, this is a business, and you have to buy more to make more. So now she understands, and she asks me all the time that, did you buy another one? Did you buy another one? Now she's also part of the game and part of the system.
That's great.
I had to convince her for that.
Yeah, that's great. You know what my mother-in-law once said to me? Vish, you brought a funny story. My mother-in-law was like, why do you work so much? And I looked at her, I'm like, I don't look at it like that. I look at it like I'm investing my time for financial freedom.
Yeah.
And the freedom will come in 10 years.
Yes.
Whatever we plant, whatever seeds we plant, we water, we give it sun, we help it grow. One day it will be a tree, and then you could be under that shade and like, oh, that sun is hot, but I'm under the shade.
That's exactly right. It takes time for everything.
It takes time.
That's what you're doing.
Which brings me to the new exciting things that you are working on. Yeah. And I know you're wearing the shirt. I love that. Realesta.
It's Realesta.
Realesta. I love it. What is Realesta?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Realesta. I know that you're an investor. I know you're a real estate investor. I know that becoming a real estate investor in this landscape, not having the right agents, not having the right brokers, it's frustrating. I've been there. When I'm a new investor, who do I talk to? Where do I go? Who do I turn to? You told me a little bit about what you're working on, but I want to know more about Realesta and what exactly it does and who it helps.
Exactly. So I'll give you a little backdrop on Realesta and the birth of Realesta. So as you introduced me as a technology professional, being in technology for more than 20 years now, worked on different programs. Right now working on AI, so I'm very well versed with the technology part. Now my journey as a real estate also exposed me to some key gaps, in the real estate process, from finding deals to connecting with right people to, doing the paperwork and evaluating deals. Like, we don't have a platform that does that. So as I was going through this journey of a real estate investor, I uncovered that there are gaps that can be filled by technology. And I would not see any platform that is geared towards investors. Like, there are many platforms out there that are very listing oriented, right? They have list, and you guy and buy the list, but nothing is from an investor standpoint. So that's exactly what Realesta is. I've been working on this for like 2 years now. I had different ideas, different things that I will solve, but I would say like last September, everything came together, and I did a lot of interviews with investors to make sure that what I'm thinking, they're thinking the same, because sometimes you're kind of so siloed in your own bubble that you think, oh, you're making something big, but you have not taken validation from others. But I did the other way around, where I actually went out and asked investors, what are their top 3 challenges? And time and again, the top 3 challenges came as finding deals, connecting with the right people and professionals, and third was raising capital. So the platform I was thinking would address those three problems right away. So if I have to tell you and your audience that what Realesta is an all-in-one digital hub where investors and home buyers can go to find deals. Now, deals could be different types of deals. It could be on-market deals that are on MLS. Now, there are off-market deals that you don't see anywhere, or you can see on Facebook groups. And we have more than a dozen Facebook groups in Canada.
There's a lot of Facebook groups,
right?
Yeah.
And for you to buy an off-market from Facebook is a challenging task. You have to go through each and every Facebook group, each and every page, and you have to find like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And then there are investment deals that again are never published. For example, like you have a property, let's say you have a 10 unit property in London, and you want to raise the capital for that, there is no way for you to market that unless you have that Facebook group kind of an approach. So the first thing this platform will solve is that all those deals that are hidden in different platforms, and you as an investor have to go through those multiple platforms to find, will be in one place.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
You can filter an off-market deal that you can't do anywhere, where I'm looking for an off-market deal in Kitchener. This is my price point. The system will find that for you. The system is smart enough that if a deal like this comes, that you will be the first one to get the notification.
Okay.
And let me sprinkle the power of AI. Realesta is an AI-powered platform. You can just ask Realesta in a natural language processing that, Realesta, I'm an investor looking for these kind of deals. Realesta will find you the properties. So you don't have to go and dig those properties.
So it finds it on different platforms, or
within the platform?
Within the platform. So you need to upload the property onto the
Yes.
platform. So
Yeah.
okay. So if you're a wholesaler or a real estate agent or someone that has a private deal, you'd have to upload the property onto the platform, and then Realista could find it for you if you're another member looking like a buyer.
Exactly. And we have some technology also in the background that will also be, fetching that information from MLS, from Facebook. Again, there are some conditions apply, but we're also kind of going out to see what different properties are on different platforms and fetch those to our platform with the, approval of those publishers, right? But it's combination of both technology and manual input of those deals that you just mentioned.
You know what? The world is becoming all about AI. I love ChatGPT. It does a lot of things. It does a lot of descriptions for me, contracts for me. Like, lawyers are going to hate it. All that expensive money that lawyers are getting paid. The world is becoming AI.
Yes.
And we need to learn how to utilize it, or we're going to fall behind. And a lot of the platforms that are sold to realtors, I'm a realtor, I get calls. Oh, we could generate leads for you, and we got AI bots answering questions and this and that. It's quite amazing that an AI bot could act like a human.
Yes.
And it has human tendencies, and it sounds like a great system. Somebody that's brand new, trying to learn about the business. They don't know where to turn. They need education, number one. Number two, they need to learn that OPM is not easy. Other people's money. This is I get this a lot.
I know.
People are always told that go raise capital, get the deal. You cannot raise capital if you have not done any deals.
Yeah.
You need a resume. You need the deal.
Sure.
You need the knowledge of the deal. You need to know how to put a deal together.
Yes.
You need contractors. You need mortgage brokers. In some instances, realtors. Some instances, wholesalers. Some instances, you need a deal calculator.
Yeah.
Like all of these things combined has to work adjacent to make a deal work. And if you have a system like yours where they can find the deal.
Yes.
And I know you said you have like a deal analyzer.
Yeah, you actually stole my thunder. So anyways, so just continuing that, so think of this as your digital companion or co-pilot, I would say, right? So the way it works is that the platform has a property, and we have divided, the buying journey into 4 stages. And we are calling it guided buying journey because, as you just mentioned, right, when a buyer is looking at a property, he goes through certain steps, and we all go through, irrespective of if we are new or experienced. There are certain steps that we need to follow. Now, sometimes we use a platform for that, or sometimes we use some Excel, or we use our brain, but we do that. But all of that is encapsulated in the platform. And what I mean by that is that for each stage in the process, we are providing a user 3 things. 1, checklist, information guides, and latest market update about that city. so that they can get a lot of information about the property, what they can do with the property and all that. Then we're going to have 5 calculators for each stage of the process. For example, the first calculator that we're going to provide is the ROI calculator. And because it is built in the platform, all the details of the property will be populated in the calculator. Auto-populated,
Great.
right? So we see that, there are, again, a lot of calculators out there. It's not new, but within our platform, you will not be populating. It will be self-populated or auto-populated. Now, we're also working with another rental intelligence company that will provide us real-time rental information.
Oh, cool. So average rents
For
in
any particular city. So you don't have to do the guesswork of, okay, I think that the rent for this property will be X. No, we will provide you very credible information, and some of that information, 60 to 70% will be generated by the platform.
Oh, great.
You can override it, but the system will provide that information, and all you have to either click the button, or remember I said it is an AI powered platform. You can actually ask the chat GPT within the platform that calculate ROI for this property. Boom, it will calculate that.
Awesome. So how would it calculate ROI? Because there's different ways of calculating ROI, different calculators, different ways people do it. So how does your platform differ from other platforms, and how does it differ from other calculators?
I wouldn't say the calculators are different, because at the end of the day, when you're calculating ROI, it is based on, how much money did you put in, how much investment period you're looking at, and based on some, yearly appreciation, what will be the value of this property after, let's say 5 years. And then subtracting all my expenses, what will be the total return at the end of that investment period. So from that point, I would say, the calculators are consistent. Now, how our calculator is different from the others is that the whole integration of the calculator with the properties, right? So you don't have to type in all that information that you would, because even the listing platforms that have calculators, there's no connection between the property and the calculator. We will have that. The second, value differentiation is that whole rental intelligence that we will be coming, that no one else is providing. And on top of that, it's AI. So think of it as you have 10 properties saved in your inbox in the platform. Instead of doing ROI calculation for each of those properties, you can very easily tell the platform that calculate ROI for all the properties and tell me which one is the highest one.
And rank them.
That.
That's pretty cool. I haven't heard of anybody or any platform that does that. It's pretty cool. And I, as a person that runs numbers a lot, it could be time consuming, running numbers. Like sometimes you need to go in depth, because depending on if it needs renovations or how much renovations it needs and stuff like that. So have you incorporated stuff like that too, renovations and stuff?
We have included renovations, but again, it is still, a basic calculator that tells you right off the gate that should you be investing time on this deal, because we have other calculators too, right? Affordability calculator, ARV calculators to provide you more details
after repair value.
But from the get-go, we want the objective of the platform is to help an investor save his time or her time and be productive. Right? And that's what this platform is going to do. Like starting from finding deals where you're spending hours and days and week to evaluating ROI, this will give you so much money to do the real work that you should be doing. You should not be spending too much time on finding. You should be going and buying those properties or doing the walkthroughs that you can, right? So that's what the platform will do. The other thing I want to talk about is that once you start this buying journey, the other drawback we see is that finding the professionals in your network. If if you're looking at property within your network, then you'll have connections. But what if you're looking a property that is not within your network, and we end up relying on Google, And I had a real example where I was talking to somebody and he said like he spent like 6 hours talking to like, 4 or 5 home inspectors. At the end of the day, he could not decide which one he should go for. So what we have on our platform is we are actually going to be having database of like 20,000 service professionals across Canada, across 10 different categories like realtors, lawyers, mortgage agents. And we are also asking them questions about their core specialty. Like it's not that you are a realtor. We're asking them, okay, if you're a realtor, what are your top 3 expertise areas that you think that you're good at?
And what's your niche?
What is your niche? So that when you are looking for a property in an area, we can provide you those top 3 options that align with your requirements.
Yeah.
How helpful is that? Now, we are not asking you to go work with that professional. We're going to give you options 3 or 4. Then you can decide. But how helpful it would be for you to know that, okay, this is my requirement. This is the kind of professional I'm looking for. This is the timeline. Is there anyone that exists?
You got a basis to start with some people. Like,
right?
I understand that because I went to a new market and I came back from Ohio, as you know.
Sure.
And I don't know anybody in Ohio. Like, I've never been there. So just like anybody else, we go on Google.
Yes.
And we look for, and I actually clicked on a program that provided the top 4 that had good reviews, and they had like the niche of what I'm doing. So something like that would be extremely helpful in one platform, especially for investors where they don't know who to talk to, and new investors especially.
Exactly.
Because new investors, they're kind of lost, Vish. And I remember being a new investor, and I meet a lot of new investors at the programs, networking events, and they're kind of all over the place. They really don't know where to start. One minute they want to do tiny homes, 1 minute they want OPM, 1 minute they want to do a flip, and 1 minute they want to do Airbnb in Jacksonville. So they don't really know where to start. They don't really know what they want to do until they find exactly their angle and their niche, until they get involved. But that's great, having that service all in one platform. So is this going to be an app or is this going to be a web-based program?
Yes, that's a good question. So right now we are making it as a web-based program where you can go, online. Now you can access it from your tablet and phone, but our app will be our phase 2. So we wanted to just create a platform for the web, and then the second phase will be an app.
So there will be an app coming.
Yeah.
So how will you get people to put properties on there? Have you thought of that? How to bring in realtors to put their properties on there? Because realtors, they can be lazy.
Sure.
And wholesalers, they can be lazy. And most of them are lazy because I see some of these listings on Facebook and I see some of these listings on MLS. And they have a hard time putting it on those platforms. So have you thought about how you're going to entice them to put their properties on your platform?
Yeah, we're working on different marketing campaigns right now.
Okay.
That will be aimed at those sellers. Now, the price point for that is that if you are a seller, and I'm talking about the original seller, and you're putting your listing on Facebook, first of all, you have to put a listing on Facebook for each and every Facebook group. So if there are 12 Facebook groups, you have to post it on those 12 individually.
Yeah, because it doesn't syndicate.
Right.
Like a lot of the websites, they don't syndicate.
Right. Second, if you are listing your property on Facebook, after you've listed, then you start to see the comments. And most of the time comments, as we all know, that does this exist? Is it available? Or they give you
is it available? Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right. So how much time goes in responding to those emails, right? Like, you're sending the same email again and again. We're gonna, have a seller get away from all that time. So what we are offering them, that give us the information just once, and then we will be marketing to the people who are interested in that property. So that, that approach from listing or posting for every Facebook group to just giving it once and then sitting tight, and now they will be notified that you had so many viewers on your listing. So many are actually looking to have a contact with you, or they want to put an offer. So all that information is coming to them by just giving us that information of that property once. So how much value they get by putting the information on the system. And there are many other programs, as I mentioned, to make their life easier, because our job, the purpose of Realesta is to help both buyers and sellers become more productive and time efficient, and save their time that is being lost in these, very unproductive processes that we have in the space.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, as a buyer, is there a section in Realesta where a buyer could say, I'm looking for XYZ? Anybody come across it, contact me? Are you guys going to be having any like chat section in there where they can say, hey, I'm this, and they probably have a profile, for example. I'm looking for this in PEI. I'm looking for this in Alberta. Is there going to be a section like that?
I'm so excited to share with you that we have a LinkedIn for investors section in the platform.
Okay, great.
That will highlight on what you just mentioned in a different way, but let me explain to you what it will have. So we want investors to have their profile. And what I mean by that is, who is Manny? What has Manny done, in real estate? What are his current projects? So, and also what he's looking for. So first of all, we want you to connect with the like-minded investors, based on your profile, because the challenge we face as investors are that we are connected with people in the groups that we actually invested in. So it's not that, I know you because, there is some similarity between what you invest and where I invest. It is more probably that you and I are part of the same investment group. That's
Correct.
why we're connected.
Correct.
But we are redefining that. We are saying that you need to be in touch with the people that either you want to aspire to, or you want to teach to, or you want to do business with them. So that is one thing that this section will do. But beyond that, we're going to be having a profile where we will ask a user that, are you an active investor, or you a passive investor, or both? So that when somebody is looking for active investors and they have capital to invest, then they can be connected to those set of groups.
Yeah.
And the vice versa. If you are an active investor and you're looking for passive investors, then instead of knocking everyone's door, you will be given access to those investors that are looking to passively invest with somebody's deal. And now they can go and check, instead of going on somebody's Facebook group and finding out like how he's as a family, and what sports he plays and what games he watches. Now we can provide a very specified information on his real estate journey that can validate or not validate him as a potential investor.
That's great. There's nothing like that. Usually anybody that wants to get in a partnership, like a JV partnership, it's a scary thing. You got to get to know somebody. You got to, look on their Facebook, look on their Instagram, all of those things. So, it's a great thing that you're creating. I look forward to you showing me a demo of these things.
Sure.
And you know what? We will release some stuff to the audience that they can see and get some information about yourself and get some information about the Realesta. I'm super excited about it. I look forward to seeing what the demo looks like. You're having a soft launch. When is a soft launch?
Yeah, we're looking at second week of May.
Oh, it's coming up.
It's coming up. We are like in the final stages of development. The team is working tirelessly 24/7. We have a lot of things covered, but again, as you know that, it's a huge endeavor. What I just shared with you is just, like 60% of what it can do. I'm like elated to show to everyone that what it can do and how it can help. At the end of the day, the platform is about giving you value, and that's what we will be looking forward to share that with you.
Yeah, well, we're going to discuss, possibly you coming to one of our seminars and explaining to our audience, because we have investment tours that we do, so we could have you on there and you could talk about it, because I believe it's a great program. I believe that you'll be helping a lot of investors like myself, like yourself,
Sure.
Going back to when we started out.
Exactly.
When you go back to when you started out and you think about all the things that you needed and where you had to talk and all the doors you had to knock on, probably hundreds of doors, hundreds of people until you figured out who you needed. But I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Vish, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate it. And you know what? I'm looking forward to real estate coming out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.